So, my dear, the conversation we were just having that I'd love to capture is the one that you were talking about, kind of claiming our space and claiming this place in which I am instead of constantly trying to navigate and make space for myself. And I was noticing it, I've noticed it a lot lately with parents. And I see
Mm.
them where they're constantly, every time I walk up on a child, come here, Joey, get out of her way. Move over here, honey. Watch for the people. Move
Mm.
over to the side. Walk closer to the edge. Because, and there's this piece of you want to obviously socialize our children and teach them how to navigate other folks. But there's so much energy of there isn't really space for you, Joey. There isn't really
Mm.
space for you on this huge sidewalk because this woman wants to walk by, instead of I'll find my space and I'll get around. But it really has landed on me in this part about how we apologize for our space
Mm.
and how we apologize for our fullness because
Mm.
we're too much or too big. So we're reeling it in, reeling it in, reeling it in. And
Mm.
so when you spoke to me earlier, Yeshe, about
Mm.
yeah, this is my space. This is where
Mm.
I get to fully embody where I am. And you said it
Mm.
so well, it really struck a
Mm.
chord for me.
Mm. Wow, what you just said was truly profound, Kim, because boy, oh boy, we do condition our children, even when they're not our own children.
Yeah,
We condition the
yeah,
children in
yeah.
our world to carry on everything
Mm,
that we have within us. So the
mm,
good and the bad and the in between. And, excusing ourselves for taking up space is something that I know that, oh my gosh, mm, I just have to pause because it's such a deep um, growing edge for
mm,
me still.
mm,
I think I've been doing work on this for several years, and it's still expanding and blossoming and deepening and growing within me as I learn this and teach this to my clients as well. And so, yeah, my gosh. Okay, so here's what I um, would love to share and what you're asking me. It's really challenging. It's kind of tender because I've just moved less than 10 days ago, and I started in my new space by hitting the ground running.
mm,
There was this offer that came through for me that my wish was to um, well, a little bit of background is that the area that I just moved to is where most of the people in my shamanic community live closer to. So
mm,
it takes me now half the time that it used to take me in order to be social with my shamanic community. And so, a half hour as opposed to an hour and 15 minutes. So it's actually less than half the time is really helpful. And so my wish was to go ahead and to discover how I could be of service in my neighborhood,
mm,
right here, right now. And so what came through was to offer my hands-on healing services and to offer a special
mm,
so that people could come to my home and I could do some hands-on healing with them and etc. And so I delved right into that. And, my computer died right before I moved. And so I've been, rather than taking the time to figure out how am I going to get myself a new computer and what kind do I want and what's going to be best for me and blah, 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 I just decided, well, I'm just going to go to the library and use their computers. And so I've been, you know, looking at how to navigate through my neighborhood to get to the library, looking at how I'm going to create this special, looking at, who the special is for and what the benefits are. In the meantime, I've not finished unpacking.
mm,
So I have all these boxes in my bedroom and in the living room and in my shared space with my new roommate. And, she's been really patient and fine with it. But I've not allowed myself to actually get here.
mm,
Getting here means claiming my space.
mm,
And so I had a situation with my closet last night
mm,
that brought forth these deep emotions
mm,
and these deep memories from my wounded self.
mm,
And my closet, if you can see in the background,
mhm,
it's a two-door closet. It's not huge, but it's big. It's a big closet. It's a nice space.
mhm,
And Man, this is very vulnerable right now, but I do want to share this because it feels important
Mm.
for us to look at,
Mm.
especially as women right now. What came through, so I'm standing in front of my closet and I'm organizing my clothes and I'm like, wow, this is so great. I have all this space from my room and my dresses clear the floor. They're not like folded over the hanger. They're not like crumpled up. Nothing is squished in, and I can find things easily, and my clothes can actually breathe while they're in the closet. They can be properly cared for. And then she starts talking,
Mm.
and she is my wounded inner child. And she says to me, are you sure it's okay for us to have this big closet just for us?
Mm. Mm.
She says, are you sure that we deserve to have this much space just for our clothes and our stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure that this is okay?
Mm.
And it's really interesting because the visual that came through for me the night before, that caused me to spend all this time unpacking and to step away from creating this new offer, is that my divine and my guides, my divine team showed me this vision of me as this new little plant being set down on top of this fresh, rich, juicy, just fertile soil, which is this new space that I've moved into. And not allowing my roots to actually sink down into the soil and take hold.
Mm.
And looking at what's going to happen to me if I don't do that now,
Mm.
and the rooting is unpacking, is claiming my space,
Mm.
is showing my gratitude and appreciation to the divine for bringing me here by saying, yes,
Mm. Mm.
I am claiming this space, even just the space of my bed, the space of one closet,
Right.
and my bedroom.
Right.
Like I really can't serve anyone else. I really cannot serve anyone else
Right.
if my roots are exposed to the hot sun, not getting watered, not being covered up by this rich, fertile soil. And so taking the time to create the space for each of the belongings that I brought with me into this new chapter of my life, creating the space for the clothes in my closet, creating the space for, my bed linens on this new bed that I'm using, creating the space. There's my roommate's dog. Creating this space for me to have my bedroom away from my roommate's dog even. I mean, he's a wonderful dog, and I don't have to share my space when I don't want to share my space,
Yeah.
And
And
so
the part that I heard in that too that I wanted to reflect on is I even love
yeah.
terminology of taking the time to unpack.
Yep.
And like when you said this to me earlier, it was really profound in the time that you took to unpack the message or the teaching or the learning that was actually in the noticing that you were taking your space in that closet and that you were grounding in your place so that you could move into your work. And so I think of it in terms of like when we're unpacking our own, all that luggage we carry in our brain or all that old baggage that we carry. We just carry the baggage and carry the baggage and carry the baggage versus taking the time to unpack it.
Yes.
Claim it.
You're so right. You're so right. And that actually brings me back to what you said about how we are conditioning children to feel about personal space.
Yeah.
If we don't unpack our baggage about personal space, if we don't unpack our boxes and bins and tubs and thises and that's, then we just hand it off to kids. Right. We just hand it off to them, whether they're our own kids or not. I've seen myself behave with my little sister who's 11 in the way that a parent behaves with children,
Yeah.
because I'm 42 and she's 11,
Yeah.
so I'm her parents' age,
Yeah.
not that I'm my mother's age, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She could easily be my child.
Yeah.
And so, you're right.
Yeah.
It's taking the time to unpack. And packing, I have to circle back around and say this about packing. Packing required me to release about half of the stuff I owned. And I really am not kidding. About half of the stuff I owned, I let go of. Whether it was thrown away, given away, burned, or whatever. Half of it was like, and so unpacking is kind of like rediscovering, well, what am I holding on to?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
What am I bringing with me into this new chapter of my life?
Right.
And
right.
so a lot of it was kind of a surprise, and kind of like, okay, setting it here in this new space that is my bedroom, in this new space that is my new living room, in this new space that is my new kitchen. This is me creating a new home. That's what creating a new home is. And so you're right. We can use this metaphorically for our personal life. We can use this as our business, as our way of how we raise our children, as our way of how we partner with people.
Right.
And so, this is, these lessons are so profound.
And what you just said about the parent that especially struck me in the market yesterday, I've been thinking this for a long time when I keep seeing how we do this with our children. But this particular one, I just noticed that the mama, bless her heart, I could feel her own withdrawal about don't take up too much space. And I could feel that own contraction. And she was unintentionally and from the best of meaning passing it right on to her little girl, who she's also going to help not take up too much space and stay small. And so we've got to unpack, and we've got to take a look at what's in the baggage. And when we unpack it, keep the things that are valuable, get rid of the ones that no longer serve us, out, and then claim that whole closet as your own, girlfriend.
Yes, the whole closet.
Yay! Thank you,
Absolutely.
sweet sister, for your sweet and vulnerable share. Thank you.
Thank you for thinking of having this conversation on the air.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.